Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. So in August, we're going to going over some big concepts, basically about how classical China era thinkers construct how we operate. So yesterday we talked about integrity, right? That right there set the social expectation of you need to be well integrated to your environment. Basically, stay consistent with your reality. Need to don't what's the word? Don't make yourself um, kind of bust the illusions of yourself because of your bias. You didn't observe it based on the full spectrum of data. You only kind of sample and therefore oriented in a certain way. So all that Chinese point out by giving you 10 eyeballs maybe kind of encourage every one of us to switch our perspective, share opinions with others, kind of neutralize our biased views. But that's the beginning of integrity, to live according to what life really is. Still sounds true today. So today is another big word, 思, think. How important it is for humans to realize we actually think, and different people think in different ways. And this thinking, I think, therefore I am, this essential identity as humans has been conceptualized in different cultures. Like just Chinese, how Chinese expressed think. We use two organs. The top one, this spool of thread thing, this thing was kind of a spool, almost like a round of a spool of thread is our brain. So Chinese abstract how our head, our brain, the neural networks in there, in this way, with this crisscross, the right amount of abstraction. So that you just visually know by looking at this, like things are networked somehow in there, right? With crisscross, and it's kind of complicated as well. So that's our head. The bottom is heart. We saw it in integrity character, and this heart simply is the anatomy observed back then to, I guess, abstract heart with incoming tube, outgoing tube, and a third tube to power the pump itself. But in ancient times, Chinese conceptualized like how humans operate. We have this head heart interaction there. We think not only with our head, but with our heart as well. Isn't that kind of deep? Even if today in like science-wise, we know better how humans operate, but we only scratch the surface, not much deeper understanding than ancient times. But Chinese point out this head-heart connection, and I guess heart not only it pump blood, but it distribute chemicals, our the way we feel about things as the center, kind of a central station, right, of the traffic, so to speak. So in that sense, heart represent body, how your body get their information, not only get energy, but get information throughout. So that's the central distributor of the blood, oxygen, and information within the body. But we know, that's the ancient abstraction or understanding back then. And we know, like today, as like the neural network, the gut, right, and all the. I only know the surface of it, but it's like we have the heart does play a role. And also the nervous system, how everything runs through the spine, right? Through the spine, it goes out like that. Um, so, and also the chemicals, not only the nervous system to get a signal sending, but signal sent through this capsuled little biochemicals throughout the body. endorphins, right? All that can like make into how we operate. So when we say think, it's probably more frontal cortex thinking function, our executive function, beyond or build upon our more ancestral or survival instincts, our reptile brain, and also our limbic system. So there are layers and layers. But ancient times, the early thinkers, to think how we think. I mean, it's meta thinking, right? Think about think. We conceptualize that of a heart head connection. There is a synergy. It's the body and the mind connection all together made up of think. Still rings true today. Okay, 思考. 考 means test. So 思 almost like you hypothesize about something, right? You make up a story about something to explain something, and then you test it out. So 思, if you just conceptualize and don't test, that's like everybody can come up with all kinds of theories about the world, right? But if it's tested, then that's the real deal. So you have this loop going on, and 思考 Chinese recognize that looping. Recognize you not only have to think, you have to test it out of your thinking. You have to check with reality if it actually turned out that way as you conceptualized. So 思考 is, even if in today, 思考 simply means think, but if we unpack it, it takes at least mid boil down to this two component. And I think that's a very good insight of how we progress. It's almost like of the contemporary science, scientific method, right? You have to test it out. You can conceptualize all you want, but at the end of the day, if that's how things really work in reality, have to test it out. So this testable, validated by reality kind of thinking is what thinking is about. All right, 思辨. So 辨 means differentiate. You have to separate from A to B. So that to me is almost like a human's basic thinking function as a classification of things. So we recognize some attributes on an object and then separate according to one or multiple attributes. And that's, for example, plant versus animal. We have to build a whole taxonomy about the world model in our mind, and we have to do this differentiation thing. And that's I guess, one of the building blocks of how we conceptualize about the world. We have to be able to differentiate. And 思量, okay, this 量 means measure. And so here, 思量 actually altogether means run your calculation, because you not only abstractly thinking something, conceptualize something, you have to plug in values, plug in numbers to come to a conclusion. So if 思辨 is in today's machine learning is a classification, 思量 almost like a regression. You have to plug in numbers, run your model, come with a prediction about how things would turn out, given all the parameters in there. And when you measure things, quantifiable things, and then you kind of do your best math or guess, and then shoot for that. So that's everything paired with 思, but the Chinese, when we have different partners of this character, give us slight variations of how we actually operate and the different aspects of how we think. We classify things, we regress things, right? Measure things, and we tested it out of a hypothesis. So all that are still valid, still true, still how we operate today. You're the thinker. I mean, what else? When we try to visually represent think itself, this is the universal representation of how humans think. It's kind of a deep think. lost in your thoughts. And that's the way to think, I guess. All right, thank you very much for your time. Here we go. 思